Okay, so welcome back to my channel, guys. Firstly, thank you so much for the love and the amount of comments, the amount of questions that I got in my previous video. A lot of people ask me about different exams, different cutoffs, and as much as I want to give my opinion on all these different colleges, it does not make sense for me to give this opinion because I have not stayed in these colleges, I have not studied in these colleges. So all I can do is only give insights on my college and also provide a strategy that I used for my BITSAT, which helped me ace my BITSAT even though I did not qualify for IITs. I will also be sharing two strategies that worked for me. You can choose either of the two to increase your score, and also a special mastermind strategy for people already scoring good to score much better. The way to this is through 12 bonus questions. I will talk about these 12 bonus questions. What are these questions? How do you avail these questions? Everything will be discussed in the video. And before we start the video, first things first, remove this from your mind कि JEE अच्छा नहीं गया तो you are not meant for BITS. It's not the same exam. It has a completely different question pattern, a completely different way to approach this exam. So how to do it, how to go about it, everything will be explained in this video. I will provide my insights on how I aced my BITSAT, and I will also talk about BITSAT as an exam, कैसे questions रहते हैं, कितने questions किस subject में रहते हैं, and how is the marking scheme, what resources you can use, everything will be provided in this video. So watch this video till the end and don't skip any part of this. Okay, so the marking structure of BITS, like how does it go about? You have 30 questions for physics, 30 questions for chemistry, 40 questions for maths, English is 10 questions, and logic is 20 questions. So overall, you have around 130 questions, which is 390 marks in 180 minutes. Right, and the marking scheme is obviously +3 -1, +3 for every correct answer, and -1 for every wrong answer. So like I said, I will also be revealing a mastermind strategy at the end. So you will have to understand every part of this to later understand that part, right? So watch this part thoroughly so that you can understand how the test is and you can get familiar with it. So how would I go about these questions? So if you see back then when I was answering my BITSAT, we used to have 450 marks ka paper and 150 questions. So it was more tough that time. Now it has become slightly easier, but still every paper you have to go in with a strategy. Just like for every war, there is a strategy. Just like that, for every paper, you have to have a certain kind of a way to go about it, as opposed to going about it in an unstructured way. It's always better to go about it with a very structured approach. So strategy number one, let's talk about that. So I used to take 2 rounds of the paper. The most easiest thing to start with is English and logic, because these things are very straightforward. Like either you know the answer or you don't know the answer. So start with English and logic because you don't want to keep the theoretical questions at the end. So after you finish English and logic, go to chemistry. And for chemistry, only do the theory part. Don't do the numericals part. Keep the numericals part for later. Then you go to physics. And physics में भी same चीज करो कि theory answer करो, numericals side में रखो. Then you go to maths. And now maths, you start with answering all the numericals. Because जब भी tie break होता है ना, whenever if I have got 320 and you have also got 320 and my maths marks are lesser but your maths marks are more than mine, then you will get a better branch than me if there is a tie break. So always start with maths when you're doing numericals, then come to physics and then come to chemistry. So this is how you want to take the rounds of the paper, right? This is strategy number one, where you take 2 rounds of the paper, where you go through the first round of the paper through all the theory, and then you start with numericals. You go to maths first, then physics, then chemistry, because that is how the tie break also happens. Strategy number 2. This is the strategy that I used for my BITSAT, where you take only 1 round of the paper, but you keep time limits on yourself, right? The first strategy was done in a way that you should not lose out on the easy questions. So here, because you're doing it in a structured manner, you want to make sure that you keep a time limit so that you don't lose out on any questions, right? So the way I would keep my time limits, and I will only explain for myself, you can devise the time limit that works for you, because this is what used to work for me. पहले तो physics के 30 I would answer in 30 minutes. Okay, physics का 30 questions would take 30 minutes because numericals would take more time, but जो theory questions रहते हैं वो 1 second में हो जाते थे. So physics के 30 questions 30 minutes. Chemistry के 30 questions would take around 20 minutes. This is how I used to keep it. And maths के 40 questions I would probably take an hour to do because maths में time लगता है, right? So why this time limit? पहले तो 30 questions I would answer in 30 minutes, say physics ka 30 questions in 30 minutes. But if I was only able to answer 27 questions और 3 numericals बच गए, तो वो 3 numericals मैं करने नहीं चाहता. I would flag those questions and I would keep them for the end, right? So this is what I would do. केमिस्ट्री का भी सेम चीज, अगर 30 क्वेश्चंस करने हैं 20 मिनट्स में, लेकिन आई हैव फिनिश्ड ओनली 25, those 5 questions will be which are left, which will be touched last, right? Because I want to make sure that I go through my paper pehle, and those 5 questions will usually be the 5 tough questions which I have skipped, so that my time does not reduce. So this is a time game. That this strategy number 2 is a time game strategy which I have been using. So now you finish the whole PCM section, physics, chemistry, math section, in 30 plus 20, 50 minutes and 1 hour. So 1 hour, 50 minutes mein your whole 3/4 of the paper is over. And then you want to move on to English and logic. And जो 5-6 questions जो बचे थे physics, chemistry या maths के, वो you can do in this time. Or otherwise, if the 40 minutes for maths which you had taken, you finished it in say 50 minutes, or you have extra 10 minutes, then you can again go to physics and chemistry, and whatever questions were left, you can come and do those questions. So this is why this time strategy helps a lot, right? And the last 1 hour, you want to keep it for English, logic, reasoning, wo wala section. So here you have devised strategies, you have kept times for yourself, and the moment you start timing yourself, the more easier it becomes for you to go through the full paper. The reason why most of the people do not qualify for BITS is because they finish only 3/4 of the paper. You have to try and finish as much as the full paper, so that you know the tougher questions you can just leave them and you can keep them for the last. Don't try to waste time on these. So yeah, that was about the strategy. So ये हो गया पेपर का strategy. अभी how to prepare and where to prepare for. The answer for you is Odoo Club, because I'll talk about this, but ये मेरे टाइम पे नहीं होता था. तो मेरे टाइम पे मैं क्या करता था, आई यूज टू सॉल्व फ्रॉम अरिहंत बिटसैट. वो एक ऐसे मोटा बुक होता था, एंड आई हैड टू गो थ्रू ईच चैप्टर, ईच सोल्यूशन वाइज चैप्टर्स वगैरह जो भी है, वो सब करना पड़ता था, बिकॉज इतना मोटा बुक था, समझ ही नहीं आता था क्या पढ़ूँ क्या नहीं पढ़ूँ. बट Odoo Club is a BITSian startup. It is made by BITSians, people who are already in BITS Pilani, Goa. They decided to make this up. There's a whole podcast on this with Dhruv. He's a very close friend of mine. And just like I'm able to make this video in so much detail, giving you each and every strategy, each and every insight, you can imagine how much they must have done for their book, for their test series, right? So this is a beautiful opportunity to start connecting with BITSians, because Odoo Club is not just it's not just a startup of itself. It is more of a community where it is mentored by BITSians. You will be added to WhatsApp communities. You'll be able to do a lot of test series. Not only are you allowed to do test series, like full length test series, you can also do chapter wise test series. So जैसे मैंने previous video में भी बोला था कि the more you start solving test series, the more you'll understand your strengths and your weaknesses. So if there is a weakness, a chapter which is your weakness, you can go through this test series and try and strengthen yourself in this area. But if the chapter is already a strength for you, then you can go through this chapter wise test series and start solving questions in a much faster way with more accuracy. So this is where Odoo Club comes in, and Odoo Club also has its own rank predictor where you can see what rank will you get in that particular paper and stuff like that. So I will also mention all the resources, all the links below. You can directly contact them. You can also watch the podcast that I did with them. So yeah, now coming to the final part of the whole thing, the big bonus mastermind strategy. How do you go about this? How do you just navigate around this? The thing is, you get 12 bonus questions, and these 12 bonus questions come with a condition. You have to finish all the 130 questions. Only then those 12 bonus questions unlock for you. Okay. Now, what is the strategy behind this? Not all of the students should focus on these 12 bonus questions. Only the people who are very good will focus on these 12 questions. Because mere time pe mera strategy kya tha? I used to answer somewhere out of 150, I used to answer around 130 questions. Right? Understand how many questions are you able to answer confidently, right? So मेरा 130 questions होता था, बाकी के 20 तुक्के थे, right? -20 पे चला गया, say suppose, okay? Even if out of the 20 questions, all 20 are wrong, say suppose, okay? तो -20 पे जाने के बाद भी 12 bonus questions open होते हैं, which is 12 into 3, 36, right? Out of those 12 questions, say even 9 I've given correct, okay? So +3 आ गया, +3 into 9, 27, और minus कितने हुए थे? -20. but it will not always be -20. It might be -18 or 2 correct आ गए, so +6. So it will be -12. -12 and +27 +15. तो extra 15 marks आ गए मेरे. This is how the bonus strategy works. The lesser number of questions that you can, just ऐसे ही मतलब तुक्का मार के you can answer, the better these 12 questions are. So if you've out of 130, you've answered say 120 questions, or even for that matter 110 questions and 20 questions are left, then you can just, do those questions ऐसे ही मतलब कोई भी answer stick करो उसका, and you can go about these 12 questions, because as far as I know, these 12 questions were slightly easier for me than the normal paper जो होता था. So yeah, this is all about BITSAT, in-depth पूरा analysis of the whole paper, understanding the marking scheme, understanding the full insights, understanding the strategy for this. And or कोई भी question हो, please reach out in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any question. So yeah, I hope you like this video. Share it with as many people as possible. And thank you so much for watching this till the end. Have a good day and all the best for your exams.